Hello, hi, welcome to this video about this new moon in Aries, which is now, it was exact yesterday, but it still applies for today. So yeah, I've tried to do this live stream, but unfortunately I had some, I'll do it next time, so because it didn't really work out this time. So now I am recording this video. And yeah, thanks to bear with me, I'm going to share the chart of this new moon in Aries, which is at 27 degrees of Aries. So let me share the chart. There you go. You should see the chart now. So as you can see here, it says 27. This is what the new moon is. Let me put some nice coloring. Why not like some green? Isn't it nice? So this is the new moon in Aries, right? So this new moon is about overcoming some identity fears and woundings to be able to trust our instinct and to courageously act to initiate the achievement of one of our goals. Because Chiron here at 26 degrees of Aries is also very close to this new moon, so we have to take it into account. So with Chiron here, that means that some wounding about our identity needs to be urgently completed. And we have to take note of the fact that this new moon is into late degrees of Aries, 27. So when planets are in the last degrees of a sign, this means that something is about to be mastered in the Aries area, in the Aries house of your chart. Something is about to be mastered or to drastically change, or something needs to be urgently completed. And then I will share now my perspective about this new moon. And after, I will tell you about what this means for your sun sign and for your ascendant sign. So first of all, because it's Aries, Mars is the planet that rules the sign of Aries. So therefore, Mars is the planet leading this new moon. And yeah, as a side note, where Mars is transiting in your chart, it shows which topic you are making a priority in your life at this moment in time. And also where Mars is in your birth chart shows how much energy reserves you have, what drives you into passionate action, and what kind of action you take. So what we can say about Mars is that Mars, it's said like to be a malefic planet. Meaning that Mars cuts, Mars is abrasive. Mars is to do with conflict, with arguments, with wars. Yeah, Mars in Aries, can be selfish. Mars, it's about hateful crimes, like war. On the positive side, because each planet is needed. Mars is good, and we need Mars when we want to assert ourselves, when we need to compete in sports, or when we need to defend ourselves. We also need Mars, for example, if we want to state our interest and to start new projects. We need some courage. We need to dare to go and do something. And this is when, this is how we use our Mars to take action. And now Mars is in all possession of his capabilities to act because Mars is in his own sign, in his own home in Aries. It's where he wants to be. And because there is this stellium, like a big group of planets in Aries, as you can see all these planets in the red, purple, pink, now yellow. So there is the Sun, the Moon, Saturn, Mars, Mercury, and Neptune. And then also take note that Chiron is here. And then I spoke about this before, Aries is also here. So all this group cluster of planets is led by Mars. So that means that this is a huge stellium. This is dynamic. This is complicated. It's a complex stellium. You know, like, yeah, the stelliums anyway in general is hard to, you know, I mean, it's hard, it's complex to debug, to break down, you know, even like when you have, you know, 3 planets together. So yeah, this is quite, because the whole energy now, all this focus, the Aries house of our chart is powered up now. It's all this energy of go, 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 go. And this is why I'm going to talk about now. The thing is that we have all this going, doing something now energy, but yet Mars and Mercury are now going to bump into Saturn, which is the complete opposite of go, go, go. Right? Saturn is stop. So this is what we are dealing with now. We want to do something, but there is a stop to overcome. Right. Also, Aries is the sign of champions. And an evolved way to use Aries is to be a champion for the underdogs, you know, to protect the weakest people amongst us. And like kind of like, you know, the hero-like energy. That's the good vibration of Aries. You know, like you think of Batman, like Spider-Man, isn't it? Like taking action, fighting for a good cause, not for selfish purposes, you know, which is the less evolved energy, you know, in Aries. Just me first. So that's why, because when Aries have, when any Aries or us in the Aries area of our birth chart, this, when we have an impulse to do something in this place, then we act on our instinct. We want that thing right now. You know, like a baby when they are hungry or when they want to change their nappies, isn't it? It has to be done right now, and the baby will scream until it's done. So that's a bit like that, a less evolved Aries energy. They won't look around and they won't considerate other people around them. They won't look at the opposite side of Libras, you know, we have to cooperate to get our needs met. So yeah, that it can be a lot of like selfishness in Aries, in worst case scenarios. Because yeah, we have this instinct, we want that thing, we want to act on it right now. And often, most often than not, we will go after that thing without thinking first of the consequences of our actions later on, without thinking how things will unfold over time, how things will work out in practice. So this means that now there can be some aggression in the atmosphere, around us, within us, and there can be some pushiness around us, even some conflict, because some of us want to take action toward our goal, and we will be able to exert our willpower. However, normally with this energy in Aries, we could say we will be able to exert our willpower and we will be able to make it happen quickly. But this is not the case now because, like I said, there is this stop from Saturn, right? So this is what the issue is. And then before, although it has passed, Mars is still carrying the energy from Neptune, and so is Mercury. See in red now. So yeah, so this is the issues in our actions. Saturn and Neptune. So yeah, so the thing is that Mercury, where is this arrow? As you can see, Mercury is here now at this new moon, about at 3 degrees of Aries. So thank God Mercury is out of Pisces. So that's still something to be excited about. Now, as you can see, it's in Aries. So somehow we went out of Pisces. We passed through Neptune. So we are out of the fog. Now we have more clarity as to what we are going to do. More mental clarity. But yeah, but like I said, it was recently, it was only like 5 days ago, 5 days before this new moon, that both Mercury and Mars, they conjuncted, they met with Neptune. So that means that now both Mars and Mercury, they are still infused with some kind of Neptune idealism, because we were mesmerized or inspired by a plan, by a plan with a spiritual meaning. And now Mars within ourselves wants to pursue this dream. We are inspired to act on our wants and needs because we have met with Neptune previously. And let's keep in mind that, yeah, Mars is very strong because it's in its sign of rulership. This means that Mars is free to do Mars things. Mars is about action, about putting your energy into something. Hopefully not like putting your energy into a war. Hopefully putting your energy, like I said, into something positive that you want to achieve, like competing. The thing is, Mars wants to win at all costs. And Mars shows what we are targeting and how we go about chasing our targets. Okay, so the thing is that normally when Mars is in Aries, we could say now we are going to go after what we want, we are going to make it happen, and we are going to go fast, and nothing is going to stop us. However, this time Mars in Aries is not as powerful as usual because Saturn is here at 7 degrees of Aries, and Saturn is restricting and is slowing down the Mars speed. You know what I mean? So it's slowing down the speed of Mars. It's slowing down its power. It's stamping on its power. So Mars in Aries wants to do what he wants to do, regardless of others. But not this time, because now Saturn is blocking his path. Yeah. So a Mars and Saturn aspect, it's a bit like putting water on a fire. So that's be like that. That's be like the energy of the firefighters, by the way. you know, so some firefighters often they have Mars, Saturn in their chart. And that's what they do, isn't it? They just put a cold blanket on the fire. So you can think about this like that, how this applies to your life. Where you were being like, isn't it, on fire, excited. And then there's been some news, there's been some person, there's been some authority, there's been some blockage, you know, that wants to dampen your joy. Because Mars is about short-term win and Saturn thinks of the long-term strategy. So Mars is a bit like a child. Like I said, he wants this now. He wants to eat that sweet now, isn't it? Because now it's going to feel good right now to eat that sweet, to eat that sugar. But Saturn is thinking long term and it's like, oh, if you keep having this sweet, if you have too many of it right now, you're going to have to go in the dentist, you're going to have to extract your teeth, and this is going to be painful. So Saturn is like, let's do a schedule. Maybe you're having some sweets only on Saturday. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit like that. It doesn't mean we can't have the thing. It means we have to practically think of the long term so that we don't waste our energy of getting that thing now, and then we won't make any good use of it. So in one way, when we have Saturn blocking us, it's for our own good. Yeah, so nonetheless, this is difficult to handle because Mars and Saturn, you know, they are the most two malefic planets. Obviously, we know Pluto and Neptune are malefic as well, but I mean, you know, especially in traditional astrology, there's no Mars and there's no Neptune and Pluto. So traditionally, anyhow, Mars and Saturn, yeah, they are the planet that can hurt us the most. They cause us the most challenges to overcome. Because Saturn blocks, Saturn says no. And then Mars cuts and burns. So you can see this combination, why it's very malefic. So myself, I have Mars square with Saturn in my chart. So in my experience of Mars square Saturn, like I said, if you plan your actions, if you stick to it and you persist, then it's like a motor getting warm. At first, it's slow, and then you get into the rhythm. And then over time, an action becomes like an unstoppable machine that pushes forward on its own until your goal is completed. So it's hard to once you get started, then you know what I mean. Then it's like boom, 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 boom. Then you don't even think about it. You keep moving forward. You know, like this big machine that you see crossing through a mountain, isn't it? And breaking the studs. Right. So at first you would do a small hole, and then you know you have a big path. Anyway, and then the machine is gonna be unstoppable until the tunnel is done through the mountain, let's say. So there's some positive with Mars Saturn because once you get into the reader, especially if you have this in your chart, then you will see that you are overtaken by this action that you have to do. And then you will not even think about it. At first, it's hard. It's like, oh, I have to do something. Once you do it 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, and then it's just part of you. You don't even feel the effort. Your mind is just set straight. It's like, this must be done, and I won't find peace of mind until this goal has been achieved. So you just keep going. Like a bull, you know, when the bull sees a torero in Spain, when they do this thing with the red flag, which is cruel, by the way. But yeah, and then the bulb is just see red and it just keep charging the target. So yeah, until your goal is completed, because Saturn won't let Mars lose any steam. Saturn, in fact, is protecting Mars from getting too wild or from hurting himself. So for me, in my experience, every single time I can see it. Now I don't, every case is different, but overall for me with my Mars square Saturn, I have no doubt that every single time when I wanted something and Saturn said no, I can see years later why I didn't get that thing, because I would have hurt myself with that thing, or I was not ready to have that thing, or maybe that thing was not worth having. So I feel like Saturn is protecting me personally with this square. I know it is. So, and then Saturn will give you what you want later on, and you will make better use of it. And then Saturn will give you what you wanted 10 years ago. If you have this Mars Saturn in your chart, sometimes that's how long it can take. 10 years later that you get something that you wanted. 20 years later before you get what you wanted. Well, you might think you don't want it anymore, but you realize that actually, yeah, you know why you didn't have it then, because in fact you were not ready. You have got that thing and you have wasted it. So that's how I think about Mars square Saturn. And the conjunction is with the same principle, because it's the same energy that are mixing. However, when there is a conjunction, it's the only aspect that can go both ways. So it could manifest into a harsh way, or it could actually be more constructive, and it could actually be more helpful. It depends how the conjunction is being aspected in your chart, isn't it? Right, so Saturn gives structure to Mars actions, and it gives long-lasting, concrete results. So do not lose hope, because if you keep persisting with Saturn, what is good is that your work will last long over time. Yeah. So yeah, Saturn delays and deny something always, because down the line that thing was not worth having, or to have it would have been self-destructive. And then so this is the main energy of this new moon. That's worth taking note of. And then if we move forward, you can see that a day later, on the 18, 19. So bear with me, I'm just going to remove this. Right, on the 19th, that is when Mars is conjunct with Saturn. Exact. So that is on Sunday. But obviously, from the day of from yesterday, from this Friday to Monday, this whole weekend, this is when we are feeling the Mars conjunct Saturn, and it's mounting because the conjunction is coming closer. So the feeling it's heightening until it's climaxing, and then it will start waning, and the frustration from Monday will start to wane. It will be more chilled. So yeah, on the 19th, Mars is exactly conjunct with Saturn. This is a red flag telling us that there is a lot of anger around right now, because some people's ego has to die, because Mars is the ego and Saturn can be death. So the ego is going into death. So if someone was over egoistical, yeah, so some people ego might die since Mars is coming to face with Saturn. Keep in mind that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react. So it's a cliche sentence that everyone says, but it's very useful to remind ourselves, especially now with all these fiery anger vibes in the atmosphere. Yeah, it happens to all of us, isn't it? So it happens to me. I mean, isn't it? I got someone that just sent me some upset message out of nowhere, isn't it? Out of nowhere, like someone just was discharging their anger onto me for no reason. And the thing could have blown out of proportion. It could have escalated. But oh, thank God, because when we know about astrology, we can avoid a lot of issues. Then I was like, yeah, this is Mars Saturn. So I didn't respond to it. And then it just goes away. So also you can use this energy for your own benefit. So instead, I am doing my own inner work. I'm doing my own work. I'm doing work on my own because that's when you get involved with other people that there can be some conflict, especially people who are unconscious, who have no clue that now there is Mars conjunct Saturn, that they are not watching this video or any astrology video, and therefore it makes everything worse because this is not a day where we should have a small argument because it can escalate. So yeah, keep that in mind that you have the power to control your reaction. The best thing to do with Mars Saturn is to not get involved in conflict and not to try to debate with aggressive people. Also, if possible, put any negotiations on hold. Yeah, so later I'm going to go through the dates. Then we will see when it will be a better time to go back to negotiating with other people. Not this weekend. Mars Saturn signals that there is some hard work to do before this new beginning can happen. Because yeah, it's a new moon. Plus in Aries, with all this Mars, it is all about go, 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 go. But like we just said, in fact, we will be able to start moving forward, at least when Mars is gone through Saturn. So, and also Mercury is going to go through Saturn, and then through it's going to conjunct with Mars. So now we are on the 21st of April. Yeah, so at least until the 21st of April. That's for sure. Because then when Mercury and Mars meet, that's another potential for some verbal conflict. So, but yeah, one thing at one time. Now I'm still talking about this Mars-Saturn conjunction. And we are blocked or restricted or slowed down to act and speed forward. Yet we are moving ahead because Saturn is in fall and Mars is in its own sign. So Mars is still continuing into its action, but Mars is moving slower than it should if Saturn wasn't there. Mars is moving with some doubt and some delays and a little bit of pessimism. But Mars is moving past Saturn anyway, because Mars is in its own sign. So I feel that, yeah, we are going to still meet the block because Saturn at the end of the day is stronger than Mars, even if Saturn is in fall. But then Mars is in his own sign. So he's still going to want to move, want to move through this wall like slowly and slowly. So we are moving, but yeah, not as freely as we would, with some delays. And now, because it's temporary, the delay is temporary. Like I said, after Monday, Tuesday, things would ease. So it's a temporary block. But yeah, depending on how we use this energy now, if we do, like I said, if we have some self-control, if we don't get involved into outer conflict, then we won't make a situation worse because after we have to deal with it and then it's going to do some further delays down the line. So if we let that little frustration silently go by, then we can pick up things again from next week, you know, without too much drama, without too much delays. But now if we get involved into these dramas and you know, into this conflict, then one small thing could just be a bigger thing. And then next week, you know, we'll have a bigger drama on our plate to deal with. So we'll be further delayed. So now this weekend, we just have to chill. We know it's going to pass. And then next week, it will be done. And then we will pick up where we were before. And we'll be ready to move forward. And we'll have dealt with this blockage. Because if there is a blockage, it's because something is being brought to our awareness. There is something that we have to take into account. Saturn is saying, did you see that? Did you realize this? There is a problem here. Your plan is not 100% ready for you to go ahead. It's not safe. It's not gonna have strong foundations if you go too fast. That's what this is. This is a check mark. So check your mark, and then next week you'll move on. You know what I mean? Just do what the teacher said when you're at school. You just get A+, and then you pass your class. If you don't listen to the teacher, next year you're gonna have to do the same class. You know, so you made a small thing a bigger thing that it had to be. If that makes sense. So already with Neptune in Aries, weak authority has been and it's still being exposed. And then Saturn itself represents a weak authority when it's in Aries. But like I said, even though if it's a weak authority, it's still powerful enough to stop Mars right now. Because Saturn in Aries is like an impulse to action and to get angry. The impulse to act, the impulse to get upset is being blocked and restricted. So the things that we would normally do without thinking, now they are not able to be let loose. This can cause some eruptions born out of frustration. Or the circumstances in which we find ourselves stuck. And these can force us to actually find peace, you know. So because we might be completely stuck, and some of us, you know, some of you with some wisdom, you might be actually getting into a peaceful state because of it, because you might look inside yourself and just do some self-reflection. Let's not forget that in the Tarot, Saturn is the Hermite, isn't it? What is the Hermite doing? If you think about it, he's looking at this lamp and he's looking down the light within. So sometimes when we are stuck against a wall, it's more productive to just, you know, look inside ourselves and just see, why am I stuck? What is the reason for it? Put yourself, put your plan, put your action into question, you know. So rather than just being obsessed, I'm gonna go through this right now, you know, just think strategically. It's not the end of the world. Like, you can't do it today, you can do it next week. Yeah, so this is the Mars Saturn, but it's not over, because after when Mars would have passed Saturn, now we have to deal with Mercury. So that's why they said with this stellium, it's like complex. These dates are going back and forth, because this is Yeah, so now we are on the 18th, Mercury. Mercury is going to sextile with Pluto. Because Pluto, you can see is here at 526 of Aquarius. Yeah, so yeah, Mercury is going to sextile with Pluto before he meets with Saturn and before he meets with Mars, before he meets with Saturn. Indeed. So Mercury is here, Pluto is here. So you see it's a sextile. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So when Mercury is going to sextile with Pluto, this is good because that means that we are going to feel that we are now already, because this is on the 18th, we are now feeling mentally empowered to build our new dream, and with desire to initiate this new change. So we are mentally feeling good about it, you know. However, we are going to meet with some physical security issues, and we have some obstacle to overcome. We have a plan in mind. We feel good about this plan. And now we have to still go and deal with Mars and deal with Saturn, which, like I said, are two problematic planets. Because on the 20th, this is when Mercury is going to exactly be meeting, conjuncting with Mars. Right, so you see it. Saturn is at 7 and Mercury is at 7. So let me just surround it. Where is it? So now we have this 7 Mercury, 7 Saturn. There is a conjunction exact on the 20th. So what this is mean that this is going to be a day, 2 days before, you know, the Mercury effect is going to be quick. It's not like with Mars, because Mercury is moving quickly. So on the 24th, on the 19th, on the 20th, this energy is going to be heightened. It's going to be a lot to think about this plan. A lot of paperwork to sort out, a lot of communication, maybe a lot of traveling in our neighborhoods, a lot of short distance travel. And so, because what we need to do to deal with this energy is we need to cut through what's important and what is superfluous. Because when there is so much communication, then we have to, right, that's why Mercury is exalted in Virgo. We have to sort things out in the right place. We have to categorize. And so if you get overwhelmed mentally, you have to be like, what is the priority? What's the most urgent? What can wait for later? So we need to cut through what's important and what's not as important at this time. And watch out, because people's speech is going to be harsher. Communication, our communication also, we have to watch our own tongue and other people's, because everyone is going to be more frank, more straightforward, and just the words are just going to be what you think you're going to say it. You know, so we have to be careful not to be too abrasive or verbally aggressive, because we don't want to hurt other people's feelings. So it's best to use this to get on top of your to-do list and to answer your emails inbox, for example. You know, like use this energy into a positive way. If you're a Gemini, a Virgo, or an Aries, then for you it's good to stay physically active, to let off some steam into a healthier way. So this is, yeah, this is I'm talking about when Mercury is going to meet with Mars. So now Mercury is meeting with Saturn. Yeah, because it's the same day, you see. It's on the 20th that both Mercury is going to meet with Saturn. Depending depending on your time zone, because me, as you can see, I'm in the United Kingdom in London at this moment in time. So it's in the same day, So it's gonna be within the same 24 hours, no matter where you are located in the world. We're gonna meet with Mercury is gonna meet with Saturn, and then a few hours later, you see it. Now Mercury is meeting with Mars at 8 of Aries. So needless to say that if you have any planets at this spot in this first decan, first 10 degrees of Aries, first 10 degrees of Cancer, of Capricorn, or of Libra, then yes, you are going to be the most triggered by this. So, you need to stay calm. But a lot can be done. A lot can be achieved in the cardinal sign. It's time to strategically, focusedly do the thing with some inner self-control. And then you'll be fine. Because, yeah, on the 20th, very nice. Yeah, so you see the universe is showing that later on, that's for next time, when Venus will meet with Uranus. But now we are talking about this Mercury and Mars. Verbal agreement. Verbal agreement. Verbal conflict. Verbal disagreement. So, yeah, Mercury as conjunct Saturn. Mercury as conjunct Mars. Mercury is the conjunct Mars. So, what else is there to say? That, yeah, with the Mercury and Saturn, we have to, this is about on that day, on the 20th, we're going to have to make a serious decision, a decision that we're going to make so that we can go forward and start this new beginning. The new beginning that is going to allow us to live more authentically, to be more of our own essence self. Because, yeah, Mercury, Saturn, it can be a contract in agreement, a serious conversation, serious thinking. Right. So it's good to make a serious decision, to weigh the pros and cons. And then things will move again when Mars and Mercury are both separated from Saturn and Neptune. At best, if we use this energy wisely, then this will be us going into a powerful new direction to assert our right to be aligned with our authentic self. Okay, so that is going to be when we are out of these conjunctions with Saturn and Mars. So you see on the 21st, it's waning. So let's say on the 22nd, will be far away. Like on the 23rd, there will be 2 degrees separated between Mars and Mercury. So we can save this as a day when all this tension is going to go down and then things will be more quieter. Okay. Yeah, and then what we can say about this energy as well, this stellium with this malefic, because we are seeing it now in the world, and then also it's playing into our own personal life as well. That wars are the final card worlds are like the Joker card in poker or in card games. You know, is the card of the worlds are like the card of the tyrants and the card of self-centered individuals who are trying to slow us down because they want to bring down our energy. They want to slow us down by bringing down our energy. Because evil in this world can't stand our joy. It is trying those evil people, this evil energy in the world. The evil can manifest through people, through corporations, so it's out there. It's part of life that we have the darkness and the light, isn't it? The light and the shadow, isn't it? God and the evil. This contrast. So we have to choose what are we going to tap into. It's good to balance both between ourselves, both energy between ourselves, because we can't pretend, that we are all angels and we are all light beings and that's it. Everyone has a dark side. Everyone has a shadow side. Sometimes we need to also be able to stand up for ourselves. So it's all about balancing both darkness and light. However, this evil in the world, isn't it? They don't want balancing anything. They just want everything to be evil. And this is why this is happening in our personal lives and on a world scale to humanity. That they are trying to stop us from tapping into a higher level of consciousness. This energetic warfare can be overwhelming because a lot is happening spiritually, psychically, astrologically, on a collective and on an individual level. Okay, so this is what this is all about, because we are seeing it all around us, not just in our private life. Why I'm saying this? Because with Saturn and Neptune, that they are still close in this conjunction at the end of the day in Aries. Because you see now Neptune is at 3 and Saturn, as of today, is at 7 of Aries. Now on the 23rd of April, Saturn will be at 8, as you see on the screen. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, isn't it? There's only 5 degrees, 4 or 5 degrees now between these planets. So there's still this Saturn Neptune conjunction. Now I am waving my hand. So don't know why, but anyway. Yeah. So what was I saying? So anyway, anyhow, I am waving it. This with this Saturn Neptune, there is one timeline that is very chaotic. And there are other timelines. The one, hopefully, that I would like to tap into, that hopefully you would like to tap into. There is another timeline. There are other timelines where some people are living abundantly with love and bliss. And others are energetically battling with this whole world and its rotten foundations, which are collapsing. So we still don't know, we still don't know what is real or what is artificial intelligence. It's hard not to know what is true or what is false. So that's why we have to tap within our own inner self, in this new moon in Aries, to tap into our own instinct inside ourselves. Our soul knows the truth. And when you see a post on social media, when you see someone onto a video, isn't it? If you take the time to tune with yourself, if you are connected to nature, to trees, then you can see through things. You can see the truth. and you won't be deceived. Yeah, because we must not lose hope in this time of all this violence around us, that we are seeing it, that some people are living and they are wealthy and they are happy, isn't it? So not, so we have to think what we are focusing on, what we are trying to tune our energy into. Yeah, obviously it's not easy for everyone depending on where you are located, isn't it? What's your lifestyle? Because obviously some of us, sometimes these situations in life, we have to be exposed because we can't just go on top of a mountain, be isolated, and think that we are all a being of light, because in the real life, we meet all different type of people, and it's easy do you know what I mean? It's easy to be into a good vibration when you are sitting by yourself in your house. But then when you meet other people, this is where, the challenge lies. But if we stay in peace, our compassionate energy will feed back into the collective for a new reality to be rebuilt by now, to be rebuilt towards this new direction. So, like if we all have trying to have good feelings within ourselves and to not get overtaken by this fear and this anger and this narrow-mindedness when you see no way out of some tragedy. So if you try to see the bright side, this can help you to tune onto a better reality for yourself. Especially if you connect to nature, you can experience some magical moments. So this new moon, so like I said, this new moon is going to really kick in after Mercury and Mars both have gone through Saturn. They already have gone past Neptune. So this is what we are seeing now on the screen. On the 23rd of April, you see Mars and Mercury. That's it. They are past these two malefic, these two, the Neptune and Saturn. And now on the 21st, we even cleared Mercury out of Mars. So now we are standing onto a better ground. So bear in mind that when we are not expressing Aries in an egoistical way, when we have a healthy ego, then Aries is what is really our most authentic self. So Aries is not all just about, being upset and being selfish and being egoistical, isn't it? It's also our true essence. And this is what hopefully now we all have the opportunity to express our true self, because Mars has conjuncted with Neptune. So that means that our ego has been dissolved a little bit. And so we are more open to be real, to be our real self, to be our true self. Because Neptune has dissolved and has spiritualized our ego. And now Saturn is even suppressing it a little bit. So needless to say that everyone should be a little bit more humbled down by the 23rd of April. Yeah, because I said this, Mars is separating from Neptune, applying to Saturn. Yeah, so when Mars is coming closer to Saturn, because now we are still dealing with this as of today, you feel like you can't win. You feel restricted. You will be triggered. So breathe and go and take a walk outside, to avoid having feeling of, vindication. You know, like to avoid wanting to go and fight back somebody else who triggered you. Yeah, you have to do some inner work at the end of the day. You know, it will pass. Mars Saturn is an exhaust. So because we had Mars Saturn before, isn't it? And we are still kind of have some infusion of this energy still with us. Especially before Mars, before when Mars is in the middle of like Saturn, Neptune is here and Saturn is here, and if Mars is in the middle, isn't it? Mars is in between Neptune and Saturn, so he's still carrying this Neptune energy, you know, until it's gone on the other side. So Mars Neptune is an exhausting transit to experience. It's like giving up, not having the motivation to pursue a goal, not having the energy to keep up the momentum to fight the good fight anymore. It can be really difficult because it's an energy of defeat. And now, after we went through this low amount of energy, now Saturn is again limiting Mars' ability to be victorious. So Mars is pumped up, Mars is pissed off. However, remember that it is the law of nature that before an expansion, there is a contraction. Even when you think when women have babies at childbirth, isn't it? It's called having contractions. And then poof, this big expansion, then the baby's born. So relax, breathe in, breathe out before this new birth, before this new beginning is hurting a little bit for a good cause. If, like I said, we use this energy into a constructive way and not you know, lash out and lose our self-control when we are triggered. And the expansion will come once we pass Mars squares. Once we pass Mars, I mean the expansion will come once we pass Mars square to Pluto. So until then, I think that this is where really there's going to be a good spot when finally things will be working out. All our plan will be working out. All the anger will be left behind us. Because once Mars is, I mean, this is a story for later, but if it brings you any consolations for today, in case you are triggered. Yeah, when is this? Then Mars, you see Mars now is at 13. So that's later. We can see that later there's going to be a Mars square Pluto. So obviously there's always an aspect after an over transit, an event always unfolds. But we can say that once we will get on the 26th of May, then Venus will be conjunct with Saturn, with Jupiter. So that's that. You know what I mean? This is a big blessing, a big gift, a big lot of generosity, lot of love, love of abundance, lot of wealth. Like this is you know what I mean? This is a good thing. And then the worst of this phase will have happened, isn't it? So this is for later, but it can bring you some kind of, if you want to do some kind of planning, and if you get triggered for longer, depending on aspect in your chart. If you don't know aspect in your chart, check in my description and I'll give you, if you email me, I will give you a free birth chart so you can see all your planets, where they are located and all of this. But yeah, when there will be Mars square Pluto, you know, this is going to be mounting as well up to the 26th of May. But after that, for a while, the worst will be over. The worst of the tension. you know, and then yeah, so yeah, yeah. I think this is when there will be some relief. Anyhow, so for today, yeah, like I'm saying, this three planet combination, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, can be used constructively to act in a controlled manner to make your dream a reality. So this is good news. There's a lot of oomph behind you if you're going to use this to your advantage. Yeah, and then soon after this new moon, the tension is going to be carried over into early Taurus. So if you have any planets in especially the first 5 degrees of Taurus, know that it's still not going to be 100% free of tension. Until now, you see the sun is at 4 of Taurus, gonna square Pluto at 5 of Aquarius. Yeah, so and this is just after this new moon because this new moon is in the last degrees of Aries. So as soon as we get into Taurus, you would think that see, now we are onto stable ground, but not yet because now the sun is going to square with Pluto. Pluto is about past power struggle re-emerging because they need to be cleared, or some fears from some past trauma that must be faced. Something needs to be eliminated, or it can be a resistance to transformation that needs to be overcome. Yeah, so with the sun, so that's going to be on the 25th of April, 24th, 25th of April. As you can see, with the sun in Aries, with the sun in Taurus, square Pluto. So all this means that now something new has to be bravely initiating. Something new has to we have to initiate something new. And we have to be brave to initiate it. We have to act independently by trusting our instinct, but by trusting our gut feeling. Because once the sun in Taurus squares with Pluto, there will be more fear and resistance to take the lead because of possible practical planning and possible financial undermining by a controlling person or a powerful social organization or a powerful social group. Something down these lines. Okay, so there's going to be, when the sun square Pluto, there's going to be another challenge to overcome to make this goal finally be onto some stable ground, that practical, steady plan, and find some calm. However, this is a little bit emotionally torturous for some of us if you have some certain planet, in the last 5 degrees of the cardinal sign. So that is from 25 to 30 of Aries, 25 to 30 of Cancer, 25 to 30 of Libra, 25 to 30 of Capricorn. Yeah, then you are obviously more impacted by this new moon. Yeah, if you have planet in Aries, in the late degrees of Aries, then like I said before, with a conjunction, depending of which planet these are and how it's expected by other planet and point in your chart, it can go either way, a conjunction. But yeah, because these are Mars and Saturn, you know, it's highly likely is going to also be frustrating for you anyhow. So if you don't know, you can get my free birth chart report in my description. Just put your email and then subscribe, and I will send it to you. Anyhow, on the 26th of April, after on the 26th of April, now we are on 23, now we're on 24, 25. Now we are on the 26th. Yeah, yeah, but so I said this that there will be some temporary calm that will be returning the 20th of April because the sun would have passed from Pluto. That's right. Anyway, we could go on forever, but I'm just looking for a short time windows for some of us that want to plan from the last week of April. This will all be untangled. Yeah. So that yeah, so temporary there will be to last from the last week of April. Obviously, there's going to be a few, you know, short amount of phase, maybe a week or so of quiet because things never stop, and that's temporary until the next wave of aspect will come. You know, that's a story for next time when we're going to do the full moon in Scorpio, which I think is on the 1st of May. And then we'll be approaching another emotional climax. Yeah, so to conclude, remember that there is nothing to fear at this time. We are guided to trust our instinct. Still, this doesn't mean that this doesn't mean that we can be bullies or too pushy or aggressive on other people. So we have to watch at this time not to do this ourselves. And then we have to stay clear of people having this attitude toward us so that we don't get triggered, you know, and then it's out of control. Because now it's easy to be triggered with all this Aries, all this fire energy, isn't it? Yeah, because there is a stellium, the best thing that we can do is to go towards the opposite sign also. Let's not forget that when there is a stellium in one side, when there's a cluster of planet in one sign, like now there's a cluster of planet in Aries, then you have to look at also doing some of the opposite side. Tonight it's Libra. So if you have any planet in Libra, you know, just look what this planet is and then just do this planet. You can also let some steam loose by with your trine. If you have planet in Leo or in Sagittarius, you know, if you feel like you're into a corner, you know, try to do this, try to do the trine, or try to do some Libra thing. If you're gonna do some Libra activity, you know, then at this time it's good to try to cooperate diplomatically with our allies, to reach out to our allies, and not to go to extremes of selfishness, which is a childish and less evolved energy of the sign of Aries, being childish, you know, like me. So that's not really constructive. So to soothe ourselves, we have to keep in mind that none of us is perfect. God, or when I say God, I mean the universe. You know, for each of us, God means something different. Like for me, when I say God, obviously, I don't mean, you know, someone sitting onto a cloud looking down on me. I mean, you know, like the cosmos, like the stars. Do you know what I mean? Nature, the elements, you know, the universe. So none of us is perfect. God or the universe is judging our efforts, not our mistakes. God is judging our intent. not the outcome of our action. As long as we do something with good intention, then don't over worry too much. This is about doing or having something you've always wanted, but something that you have been afraid to be truly seen. You'll be afraid to do that thing because you've been afraid to be truly seen, to be seen for who you are, who you truly are. And that is why you didn't act on it. Well, now it is the time to take the lead, to pioneer, and to go for it in the Aries area of your chart. This new moon is a reset to be better aligned with our authenticity. And it is a call to start something new in the Aries house of your chart. So without further ado, let me tell you now the horoscope forecast for all 12 signs. I'm going to tell you where this is happening for your sign. So here are some potential ways of how this new moon can manifest for you. If you want to know more specifically, you can ask me a question. You can order a birth chart reading from me and ask me what's going to happen at this new moon, at this full moon. Any question, you can check my website link in the description. Now I'm going to tell you about this new moon, how it's going to impact you if your ascendant or your sun is in Aries. So for you, Aries, this is obviously all about you. This is in your first house. So of yourself, of your body, of your vitality, of your personality, your identity. All this is now in focus. This is a new moon in your first house, in the sign of initiation and independent action. That means that major personal changes. So I'm going to highlight this. I mean, Aries, yeah, is this what I mean? This is for Aries in your first house. Yeah, so major personal changes could happen this month when you take hold of the courage to step onto the stage of your life, to lead and pioneer towards aligning yourself with your purpose. If you have been thinking of getting a new look or a new haircut, now you will act on it. Good for you. Because Mars, your ruler, is still in your first house right now. So you are also ready to take action and to initiate a relationship completion into action. This means that if anything or anyone holds you back from your professional goals and long-term wishes, then especially with Saturn in your first house, which is conjunct Mars, which is your ruling planet, this means that you will feel now a duty to be responsible. You will feel like removing any obstacle in your way any obstacle in the way of your ambitions. It is a good time to initiate a new project and to improve your appearance, Aries. Now, if you are a Taurus, here, Taurus, you see, if you are a Taurus ascendant, sun and moon, then, excuse me, if you are a Taurus ascendant or sun, I'm doing. To a lesser extent, you can use it for your moon. Yeah, this is going on in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is to do with your subconscious, how you self-sabotage yourself without realizing it. This means the focus now, Taurus, is on your imaginary and spiritual life. It's on spending time alone. A lot is going on behind the scenes. It's you doing a lot in private and keeping your plans hidden from others. And at the same time, you may feel that you have to be aware of your hidden enemies. You have to be more aware of your hidden enemies than usual. Or that your private affairs might need more protections at this time. Or a health, a work, or a daily routine crisis is showing you where you have been disillusioned. At the next new moon in your sign, next month, you'll be ready to put your remedies in place. You will be ready, Taurus, to reveal your plans and to actualize your new self. For now, you are still going through a phase of dissolving any situation or person or dynamic that is not conducive to your evolutionary growth. While you experience this internal process of cutting any fears that prevent you from being assertive. This is a good time to get a lot of work done in solitude for you, Taurus. For Gemini, this is in your 11th house. Gemini ascendant, Gemini sun. This new moon is in your 11th house of friendship and networkings in groups. So the focus is now on your wishes and long-term goals for the future. This is a good month for igniting the fire within, to start going after the manifestation of your long-held desire. With Saturn now in Aries, you are being asked to take responsibility in social gatherings or maybe some clubs that you are a member to. Yeah, you're now, Gemini, you are dealing with groups of people. You know, you are taking this more seriously now. You are thinking more about friends and friendships and what type of friends you want to have. And if you're not satisfied with the friends you had, the friends you have, you are ready, you are willing to put some work into it. Do you know what I mean? So there may be some difficulties to overcome with a friend that is delaying your progress. Because Mars is also in Aries, this could be also the loss of a friend as a result of you joining a new community, or because you are associating with a new crowd for work. You might be joining a new group of people and that affect your other friendships. Something down those lines is going to manifest for you, Geminis. Yeah, overall, you are stimulated by finding a new tribe to hang out with. There's a new group of people, Gemini, you are going to hang out with, you know, and that's and you are making a completely new type of friends. Also, Uranus is soon going to be in your first house, in your sign. And this new moon is in your 11th house, which is a Uranus house. So you will be using new social media tools and technologies to reach your goals. And now for Cancer, ascendant, sun and moon. So this is where Cancer is. So this Cancer for you is in your 10th house. Okay, so the 10th house of your career. The 10th house has to do, Cancer, with your reputation, your legacy, your status, parenting, your parent, you as a parent, and the people who have power over you, like the government. Because Saturn is there, this can be about whoever manages you or about how you exert your own authority and influence over others. In any case, you have some hard work to do now, Gemini. Cancer, sorry, Cancer. You have some hard work to do now. In your 10th house of your career, you have to develop more self-discipline in the process to improve your public image, to improve your parenting skills, or to get promoted in your profession. If your professional path feels unfulfilling, then this is a good time to go after your life's calling, Cancer. Now for Leos, Leo Sun and Leo Ascendant. This is where you are, Leo. And this is where this new moon is for you. In your 9th house. So this 9th house is the house that represents travel, foreign people, legal matters, publishing, mind expansion, to different lifestyles and to different philosophies of life. You might be dealing with the law regarding some travel and relocation plans. Or there is an educational challenge that needs to be confronted. You will overcome it and you will gain more confidence as a result. In any case, a new belief system is emerging and it's helping you move forward as you see the bigger picture of how it will all work out fine, because you are opening your mindset to new ways of living your life, Leo. Leo, you are opening your mind. Right. So now it's Virgo. So for you, Virgo, it's intense. This is in your 8th house. You know, it's a scorpionic house. It's a deep house for Virgo ascendant, Virgo sun. This new moon is in your house of the taxes, of your hidden fears over people's money and resources, of inheritances. This new moon is a good time, Virgo, for you to get your finances in order. Especially as some financial concerns can be coming up to the surface now. As a remedy, you can go deep and privately into your own psyche to overcome a hidden talent of yours. In some cases, like if Pluto is aspecting by this new moon. You know, I mean, in some cases, if in your own chart, for example, Pluto aspects this new moon, you know, this is why it's good to get your own birth chart report or your own birth chart reading, you know, and to know, because every person is aspected differently. This is why this is a general forecast. So in some cases, it can trigger for you, Virgo, an obsessive passion. Yeah, that could be triggered. And the intensity of such a life-changing experience can activate the beginning of a death and rebirth of your ego. You could also reinvent, regenerate, and transform your ultimate life, because it's highly likely that your attention is drawn to your sexual life, and a new relationship could start now as you are more open to look at your own psychological trauma in order to heal how you connect intimately to others. So that's deep for you, Virgo. That's intense. So, and when we have Saturn in the 8th house, the trauma healing, you know, it does take time. Those takes the whole, because Saturn, you know, does things slowly. So it does take the whole Saturn transit. When the Saturn transit in your 8th house will be done and completed, then you would have healed a lot of trauma, Virgo. Yeah, so good luck, Virgos. Now I'm doing Libras. So Libra, a lot is going on in your partnership. So Libra ascendant, Libra sun. This forecast is for you. This is your 7th house. Right, so this new moon for you is in the house, like I said, of your partnerships, Libra. Your open enemies and conflicts, like lawsuits, your spouse, and any one-on-one relationships. These themes are all in focus now and over the next 4 weeks. With the Aries Stellium, the competition is increased. Either you are feeling more competitive than usual, or this energy is coming at you from others, confronting you. In some cases, this can be because of a separation, which could be initiated now. If a relationship has been on the rocks for a while. So reminder that this is not necessarily about an intimate partner. The 7th house can also be a best friend, a business partner, an advisor, and even an enemy. Yeah. So if you are single, Libra, then, and if you are single and someone has been on your radar, then now you might well decide to pursue it or to join a dating site to meet a solid companion with whom you can express your authentic self without any shame. Or it can just be a renewal about you and how others see you, like how you go about reaching out to others to form a close relationship. So these topics can come now to your awareness more than usual. As a result, you will tweak and assess how to project yourself to others into a more confident and a more assertive self. So good luck, Libras. And now we are doing Scorpios. For you, it's in your 6th house for Scorpios. Scorpio, Sun and Ascendant. So the 6th house, Scorpio, is the house of your daily work, your pets, the services, any service matter, and it's the house of nutrition as well. So that means that now there is a concentrated focus on your health and hygiene, because the 1st house is your physical body and the 6th house is what you are going to do with your physical body, how you are going to work with it, how you are going to heal it, how you are going to help it. If there is any medication issues or a sickness that you are not clear on how to cure, then you could well be starting to look into an alternative way of healing it, an alternative healing method. This can lead you to a fundamental shift and it can stretch your belief system. So trust your instinct. Otherwise, you could be busy with implementing some new idea regarding how to be more organized, to do an artistic kind of work. If you are an employee, then this new reboot for you, Scorpio, this new reboot and boost of energy concerns your relationship with your co-workers or your own employees. maybe the way you travel to work needs to be more efficient. It's also possible that this energy manifests in a situation with a close relative, a sibling, or with someone that you care for on a daily basis, someone that you communicate with on a daily basis. Overall, these are the themes requiring more of your attention, action, and practical direction now. Okay, so this is all for Scorpios. Now, for Sagittarius, Sun, Sagittarius, Ascendant. So this is kind of good for you because it's in your 5th house, Sagittarius. The 5th house is a happy house. It's a lucky house. It's a house of the speculation like gambling or taking risk in sport, for example, when we take risk in sport, or taking risk with creative investments. It's also about your love affairs, romance, and is the house of having a child. So you are now focused and motivated to begin a new way of expressing yourself, to take care and invest in your creative life. This can be a project. This can be about a project. This can be about a child or your romantic life that's growing and infused with new life and playfulness. So this is a good time to pursue your heart desire, to fall in love, to be more playful, as you now have a lot of energy available for entertaining activities, or to simply spend more quality time with your own children. If you don't have children, could be spending more time, dating as well. Now I'm going to do Capricorn. Capricorn, Sun or Ascendant. So for you, dear Capricorn, this is going on in your 4th house. The 4th house, another deep house. The 4th house. Right. So Sun, Capricorn, and Ascendant Capricorn. This is New Moon is in your 4th house of your home, your private life, and who you live with. So it can be about a parent, real estate, and your relationship to your past and your motherland. For you, the focus is on your family dynamics and your inner emotional stability. With so many planets in this area of your chart, you might be more introverted at this time, focusing on your private world. Your intimate life is where you put your energy now. So you can make more time for being alone in your own space, for self-reflection. Or maybe you are acting on taking care of the business that needs doing in your home. The foundation at the roots of your life or your parents require more attention now. And something to do with the topics I've mentioned might need to be resolved. This can be an inner process that you are going through privately within yourself. In any case, it's a good time to initiate a new project in your home to make it your own as much as possible. Okay, so all the best to you, dear Capricorns. Now I'm doing my friends, Aquarius. So for you, Aquarius, Sun or Ascendant, then this is in your 3rd house. So a lot is going on in your mind, in your close environment. because this new moon for you is in your third house of your day-to-day communications. There can be a lot of small talk and perhaps even some verbal conflict in your immediate environment, like the places where you usually go for food shopping, the supermarket, or there might be a new supermarket in your neighborhood, in your city nearby, or maybe it's your car that needs changing. There is some kind of newness and restlessness infused in your short journeys. Your nearby community can be the source of new information that ignites your motivation for a more purposeful daily routine. This is a good time to start a new study or test, to start a writing project, or to teach children, to listen to a new radio channel, or to use a new way of transport or a new way of communication. Also, a relationship with a sibling or an enmity in your neighborhood can take most of your focus now, and you have the motivation to deal with it in a new way. It can be a group you work with or a goal you aspire to on a daily basis. That takes a lot of your energy and resources. So you may also have to sort out some paperwork or do a lot more than usual, something to do with your short distance travel. All this for you is highlighted now. So this is where the new start is gonna be for you. Aquarius. And now Pisces. For you, this is in your second house. For Pisces ascendant, for Pisces sun. This new moon is in your second house of your income, your possession, of what you value. This is a good time to ask for a pay raise or to initiate a new way of self-sustaining yourself by being persistent until you see some results. For example, by becoming self-employed or by starting to turn your hobby into your own business, for example. Because, Jupiter, as of now, is still in your fifth house, Pisces. And Jupiter in the fifth house can bring money as well. Jupiter can bring money in the second house, in the fifth house, and in the 11th house, and in the 8th house. Anyhow, for you, this new moon plus Jupiter in your fifth house. This new moon could bring a financial gain or some spending linked to a creative activity, a child or a lover. So like I said, this is a good time to turn your hobby, your creative activity into a business. However, there could be, for some of you, a conflict about money because of overspending or over-optimism. And now a new way of handling your finances, Pisces. A new way of handling your finances more independently is required to increase your self-worth. Okay, so thank you for watching my video. So I have now done all the 12 signs. And if you stay until the end, thank you to have stayed until the end. I'm very grateful for your time. Remember, you can get my free birth chart report available on my website. So just fill in your email and your birth detail. Then I will email you the details of what is your ascendant, your midheaven, your moon, where are all your planets located in your own birth chart, all of this. This way, when you watch astrology forecast, you can better link the information to your own life, you know, and it's good to watch the introduction of the video because it gives you more context if you just watch your sign. And then feel free to check out my astrology services via the links below in the description of this video. If you want me to tell you about the upcoming new moons or full moons, how things will unfold for you personally, you know, you can always ask me a question or order a reading from me. Just go on my website and just check it out. In any case, you can also leave me a comment. Tell me how this full moon was, anything, how was this forecast. You know, tell me what's your moon sign, tell me what's your sun sign. You know, let me know how it was this new moon happened for you. Did you have a good event? Yeah, I'm very interested to know, you know, about what happened to you at this new moon. So let me know in the comment about your experience. In any case, I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching and bye for now.